welcome everybody to episode, I believe it's 3 of the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm actually recording this one live because I figured why not. Last week we sort of got our housing situation sorted, and this week we're going to look into the stealing aspect. Because in this game, much like a regular Elder Scrolls game, you can steal more or less everything as long as there's a red title. Unfortunately, you can only sell those to a fence. Every major town has I forget the actual term for it, but there'll be a symbol, and it leads to an underground area where you can fence. There's usually a bank there, and usually there's at least one auction house type thing. So to steal, you got to make use, obviously, of the crouch sneak mode. Which every time you move while you're in this mode, you'll notice that the green bar is ticking down. There are perks to lower this, so you want to make sure you're hidden. You want to go into steal. And there's stuff that costs 40, which is like a standard thing you can sell. Every once in a while you get something that costs more. Something like that I'm not going to bother with. If I get caught, I get a bounty, which is not great. But you can kind of manipulate things a little bit, because they'll only see you from line of sight. So if you sneak around a bit so that they're in a position where something is in their way, they usually won't be able to see you. And this is a very good way, if you're lucky enough, to get the high money stuff. To build up your money pretty quickly, which helps you afford bags and stuff. And crafting bag space, or not crafting bag, but your regular inventory bag is very important in this game, obviously, as is getting your bank space up a bit. So we ended up with 2 items, which is not super great, but it'll do. Also, oops. Let me use one of these just to get them out of my inventory. And one of the things we have to do today, before I start, how much money we got? Okay, I have enough. I need to go get my horse upgrade. So every day in the game, if you haven't played before, there is a horse upgrade. There's 3 tiers. You can increase the speed of the horse. You can increase the horse's stamina so you can dash longer. And then there's the important one, which is you get bag space. This is your normal inventory, not just when you're on the horse. And the more space you have in this game, the better overall, because there is a crap ton of things you can get.
You know, the crust of Leyawind.
Every time you get one of these, you have to wait about 20 to 24 hours. And you get to pick the next one. There's 60 of each, so it takes a while. It's incentive to log in every day. In addition to, like, you get a daily reward, like probably most MMOs at this point. I'd be surprised if, now that that's normal with mobile games, you're not seeing that in every MMO. Lumina might know this better. Does 14 do that right now? It's been a while since I played 14. I know, Star Wars added it. The Old Republic, I think. At least I vaguely remember something along those lines. So I'm gonna go in my journal here. What quest do we still have from this area? I'll mark one of them. Because we have to step into a guy's house, and I think we have to steal something from his house. Or these people in the inn, they think somebody is up to something, and they can make use of their information to screw them over, more or less. You can also break into houses. It's also considered a form of stealing. So if you get caught, you also get a bounty. So you have to keep a sort of vague eye on that eye on the bottom, because it will slowly open as people approach you. Okay, they haven't added those to 14. I'm pretty sure they added them to Star Wars, or at least a form of them. Grab that to add more stuff to sell. I don't know if there's anybody home right now. If there is, you do have to be careful, because you can still get the bounty even if, like, just somebody minors there. Somebody... There has to be somebody in here, because the eye's shuffling a little bit. Also, the lockpicking game in this, it's a little awkward at first. The first time I played the game, I had a lot of trouble opening anything. But once you sort of get it down, you'll get it every time. The following pages contain the criminal holdings and activities of the Fang Furls gang. It contains tables upon tables of accounts, as well as those hastily written instructions. Dead drop locations. Don't bungle these up this time, should be easy to spot. North of the city, out in the water on a mound of land. Head east, not quite past the bridge, drop is under a large tree. North of Hutan Tazel, a bit of a trip tucked away on a hillside. Also, don't forget to pick up that cast for Punch and Adder. The Olander Coast Reserve, shipment was left on the Leyawind docks. All the way to the left if you're coming from the city, do not drop it or mess with it in any way. Adder will know, I promise you. Now that's empty. I think that's most everything we get here. I didn't see anybody in here, but like the eyes are shuffling. Oh, there is somebody here, okay. Well, let's just get out of here before she sees us. You can also pickpocket from people, another method of stealing. So this icon here, that I guess it kind of looks like a three-pronged fork or something along those lines. That's sort of indicating that there's a the place where you go to fence stuff. Although I don't know why there's one showing there. I think that one's a bug. I want to go up here. Outlaw's Refuge, that's what I'm thinking of. I think there's 2 quests we can pick up out down here that adds DLC quests. I don't know when we'll get to them. One of them might be worth doing early-ish, because it'll give me that ability to one-shot kill things if I'm sneaking behind them. But first we'll go trade in this stuff. Plenty of scheming going on down here, friend. We're up to our eyeballs in schemes. Speaking of schemes, let's see the fruits of yours, eh? So basically, you get 50 items to sell, I think, a day? It might be a week. But there are ways to increase that number to give you more each week or each day or whatever. So as I sell stuff, that number ticks up. You can also switch to launder, which allows you to pay for it to not be a stolen item if you find a good piece of equipment or something along those lines. And selling stuff increases your Legerdemain skill. Which I think you only need 10 levels rather than 50 to max it out. Are you here about the job? To forestall any confusion, yes, we split the proceeds equally. And no, I will not budge on that point. Job? What job? You mean you aren't here about the notice? Well, allow me to explain. I need a partner for a difficult job. It pays well, but it involves travel, and there is some danger. Does that sound like the sort of thing that might interest you? Sounds good, I'm in. I'm so glad it came along. I've chartered a ship. When you're ready, meet me there. Here, I'll mark it on your map. Bring some lockpicks. They sell them here if you don't have any. Oh, and wear something warm. Where are we headed exactly? Let's talk about details when we rendezvous. It's not that I don't trust you, I don't think I made a good impression in this place. That is, if you're still interested. You are, right? Of course you are. I'm only joking. Why are you surprised I took the job? I've never had a partner. I mean, on all other big jobs I've done, which I did alone, quite successfully. And most of the people interviewed thought the rendezvous was too far away, rather. You marked the Woodhard docks on my map. Why Greenshade? Why not leave directly from here? Well, I paid for the ship in advance. I didn't realize how far I'd have to look to find a suitable partner. For the job, I mean. But we can talk about this at the docks. And that sets up the Thieves Guild quest line, which you can unlock that actual talent tree just by there's these locked boxes randomly in the world. If you find one and open it, you get the skill tree. I think you also level it up by getting those too, so theoretically you could level it up without ever joining the Thieves Guild, but I could be wrong in the fact that it levels you.
You, over here. This
place is nice, but it's not a home. Feels like I'm hiding down here. People like us, we need powerful friends if we're going to make it in this world. People like us? Don't play coy. I see it in your eyes. You've killed people, or you will. You've got the same urges as I do. Just between us, I hear the Dark Brotherhood is recruiting for some new blood. I'm going to try my best to get their attention. The Dark Brotherhood? You never heard of Tamriel's most elite guild of assassins? Rumor has it that if you take an innocent life and they notice, they'll offer you a place in the Dark Brotherhood. There, killers are free to pursue their true passion. Think about it. Thanks for the information. Word of advice. Urges aside, the Dark Brotherhood prefers to keep a low profile. Just remember, kill an innocent, get noticed. Our sources say they're recruiting an anvil on the Gold Coast. I'll be at the docks here if you want to talk some more. You want me to just go up and kill a random person in cold blood? I don't want you to do anything. I'm just providing information. Letting you know that new opportunities are available if you're willing to spill a little blood. You're rather open and nonchalant about all this. Don't take my willingness to help out as a sign or anything. I recognize a kindred spirit and suggested a way to satisfy your darkest urges. They'll get you killed if you don't keep them under control. And if you don't find the right allies. I've killed before. Why hasn't the Dark Brotherhood contacted me already? Hey, I don't know exactly how they select new recruits. I'm just telling you what I've heard. Maybe you need to be in the right place at the right time, like Anvil. Of course, I've also heard they have eyes everywhere, so what do I know? So you think Anvil's the right place to get noticed? I'm not one to reveal my sources, but Fat Grackle told me that he overheard Seaworthy Sorala say that there have been some mysterious murders committed on the Gold Coast. To me, nothing says Dark Brotherhood like mysterious murders. But why do you think the Dark Brotherhood is looking for recruits? Oh, I got that from Margog the Hammer. Buy him a couple of ales and he spouts secrets like a bard spouts poetry. Just the other day he told me his cousin Kursic killed a baker in Anvil. He received a mysterious visit that very night. A mysterious visit. You really don't know anything about the Brotherhood, do you? If they decide you're worthy enough to receive an invitation, one of the dark dignitaries shows up to deliver the news in person. It's kind of creepy, but it's also a singular honor. How much do you know about a secret organization of assassins?
That's one of the best things about the Dark Brotherhood.
That's one of the best things about the Dark Brotherhood. It hides in plain sight. No one knows where its headquarters is or how many members it has. Yet you can go into any library and read a book about them. It's brilliant, really. You've read a book about the Dark Brotherhood. Quite a few, actually. My favorite is The Night Mother's Truth. It describes the origins of the Brotherhood, although it might all be theory and conjecture. But forget the books. Everyone knows the Brotherhood exists, and most people fear them. What are the benefits of joining a group like that? Fellowship, safety, and security, to name a few. I understand there's also a steady flow of gold from all the contracts, and you get to kill people. Can you imagine a better guild to belong to? Better than picking pockets, if you ask me. And that obviously sets up joining the Dark Brotherhood. Nothing you have to do immediately. In fact, I don't know if I can theoretically do those until I get back to the main areas. But once we get to one of the main areas of the game, because we're starting in the DLC area for this, there's going to be several boats or carriages to go off in all different directions to go to various places. There's also a main storyline for this one, which I found the main storyline kind of interesting. Because it starts with you being killed. It's unavoidable that you get killed, too. So are we just returning that one item back to the guy now? I got no reason to keep those marked. Yeah, okay, I gotta return that back to those guys, and then we can continue on with that one. Going back to Final Fantasy XIV, it's been such a long time since I played it. And I used to play the PlayStation 4 version. I'd be willing to grab the PC version at some point and go through that game again. Because it's up there with this one for, like, the best questing as far as, like, storyline and everything. I would say this one kind of edges it out a little bit. But that's mostly because a lot of the quests in this one are kind of written like you would get in a normal Elder Scrolls games. Like, there's little stories throughout the world. Whereas 14 definitely has a bit of that, but you also have a lot of just, hey, go kill 8 of these things. But I don't know what it was added since when I last played. It was just before, not the Endwalker, but the one beforehand. And I was past Stormblood, but in the between bit between them. I saw some rather unsavory ruffians skulking about. Fangfurls, I'm sure. Shadowbringers, that's it. They wouldn't dare approach us directly. We're safe enough, Lulus. All the same, I'd rather not venture outside without me, brother. I mean, you would expect that, but sometimes the description of the quest and what they say to you is pretty much just that. But I mean, you're gonna run into that a little bit anyway. I've been waiting for them to add, what's it called? The trust system to all the old content. Because there's so much required group activity in the main plot line of that. And being that I live in Australia, and typically the best servers to use, although they just added a Australian server, I think, which is already full, so it'd be a shit show to try to get in that. But being that I usually play in North American servers, because, you know, I'm originally from America, and most of the people I know are from there, timing-wise, it is often difficult to get full groups to do stuff, and especially older stuff like Odin Fight, for example. It is nigh impossible to get a group for that, so if I could get the trust system for the older content so I don't have to worry about that, I'd love to go through it again. Yeah, I think when I stopped, I was about to do a dungeon where you have to, like, go underwater into a tunnel to get into a room. And I had to, it was right before, I think it was right before I moved to this house, so my internet was going to be off for 2 weeks. I just canceled my sub and never turned it back on. The Fangfurls continue to sniff around our skirts. If we don't move quickly, there won't be a happy Avernos shipping company left to save. Did you find the ledger my brother asked about? I'd like to look. Lulius has no head for sums. They do, but after a lot of time pugging in WoW, I've grown to be hesitant to do pickup groups. There seems to be a good chunk of stupidity. But yes, I've done the random thing. I prefer to play with people I like, though. Like, if I'm always going to be doing pickup groups, I'll play something else, you know what I mean? Let's see. It seems the Fangfrills have their thumbs in some very dirty pies. I'm not one to talk, given where my hands have been. I have an idea. If we can draw out Pungent Adder himself, we can topple him and his gang. What a name. I hope we all one day get to be the Pungent Adder. How do we do that? By gifting Pungent Adder some umbrage. Looking at this ledger, I see two morsels dangling before us. Firstly, according to this, the Fangfrills use dead drops to issue and receive orders. If we steal those drops, we disrupt their operation. From what I remember, the community was great. It was still hard to find certain stuff, like the fighting Odin. If you're not in a guild where you can organize people together, you're boned. It's never gonna happen. And even then, like if half your guild isn't on when you're on, you're still boned. But I don't know, if I see it for cheap and I can justify doing the sub, I'll probably start over on the PC and give it another go, because it is a good game with a really fun world to explore. And I mean, the callbacks with the music and everything, like high-end using Science theme and everything, you know. You mentioned two morsels, what's the other? We send Pungent Adder a more personal message. Seems he has a barrel of Oleana Coast Reserve waiting at the docks. Let's say we season it with something foul. Make it as pungent as the Adder himself. How will Pungent Adder know these slights are from us? While you sabotage the dead drops and taint his wine, Lulius and I will write a signed letter to make his blood boil. Then it's just a matter of combing the stinking depths of Leowin until we find something that could put the letter in his hands. What should I do with the orders I find in the dead drops? Hang on to them, I suppose. They might be useful to peruse rather. And after all is said and done, find out who's worth trusting and who's happily squirming in bed with Adder. That's one thing that I kind of wish was still a thing in MMOs. Like in this game, they have what's called one Tamriel, and it basically means that everything is your level. No matter how far into the game you go, everything is always your level. And I understand why they do it to a degree. The idea is that no matter where you start, every place is doable at any time. But I miss doing those dead mine runs that we used to do way back in the day, where I just go in completely no armor, no weapons, and just drag people through the dead mines that needed to finish it for a quest. It was fun just goofing around, you know. I prefer that to just even normal questing. Whereas now, even though there is a way to do old content at a higher level in Final Fantasy XIV, there are some dungeons you can't do without a second person, just due to the mechanics of a fight or something along those lines. And I dislike that because it's fun to go back and just screw around. It's often more fun than doing anything else to me. Of course, I've always been a pretty big component of, like, I think there should be different modes to dungeons. I think there should be a hard mode where you get really good gear, but you know, you have to be on the ball. I think there should be a normal mode, which is just the normal run. I also think there should be a solo mode. And the solo mode is just for finishing the quest. And you get no gear, like nothing drops. You just do the story and finish the quest so that you can move on with the game and have a good shot of catching up to your friends so you can do the normal content. But I kind of understand why they don't do it to a degree, because they want to keep you going as slow as they can to keep you subscribing. But it would be nice to have. To a degree, but you still would need to be a higher level to be able to beat the stuff. So, I mean, I guess you could unsync if you're just stuck, unable to find a group for 20 levels. You're just like, screw it, I just want to be done with this. But I mean, like, when you get the quest, if you could just do the story and move on, I think that would be good for people who play either solo or they play with groups at a certain time of night. You know what I mean? They have Squadrons for up to level 60. I don't think I ever did anything with Squadrons. I know you could join a squadron. Do they allow you to take NPCs into these dungeons? Maybe they added that after I stopped playing. Or I just never got into it. The cask is at the dock, so I'm sure there will be something on hand. Pitch, bilge water, fish, anything will do. Just try not to get caught doing anything unseemly in public, hmm? No sense mixing business with pleasure. Okay, so you can get NPCs, yeah. I think I joined one of them, but I mean, you know me well enough throughout the years to know that I have no interest in PvP stuff. It's just, even the idea of it, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. So I think when I saw how it was described, I was just like, oh, is this just PvP stuff? No, I'm done here. So it's good to know that you can use them to sort of get through some content. I'll have to keep that in mind for if I do go back to it at some point. Alright, so what do we have in my equipment? So I have this that I need to break down. I need to break down this. So we have a cloth item, we have a metal weapon. That's cloth as well. Because I need to make sure I've got some researches going on. Also, apparently there's something here. You need to work on it. So you need to do some PvP to get to the point where you can recruit NPCs. That's probably why I never did it then. Work for hire in Leyawen. Troubles plague the people of Blackwood. If you count yourself among the bravest of warriors and you are willing to face untold dangers in the pursuit of gold and glory, then the Chamber of Legats has a job for you. Seek Servetus Leatulun in the city of Leyawen for details. Like, I don't have any problem with the idea of PvP. I just find the community that engages in it mostly, they're kind of grating. Like, I remember, what's... Is it Warsong Gulch that's like Capture the Flag? And it's in, I think it's on Alterac... No, Alterac Valley is a different thing. It's near where, the Undead City is. And I remember watching, like, the chat, like, somebody was yelling at some healer guy, and he's just, like, calling him the worst stuff that you could think of, like, you know, hard R's and stuff like that. And I'm just doing it because I needed to do a quest that related to trying it for the first time or something. And I'm just sitting there reading the chat because I was guarding the flag, and I'm just like, why would anybody do this? Why would you put yourself through this? Like, this, where's the fun of this? I think I did one PvP thing in 14 just to get a quest out of my quest log, and then I just never did it again. So I wouldn't even say I remember how it works, if I'm being honest with you.
Fancy yourself a friend to all bugs.
So many new faces in the city. Are you here about the notice? We can use the help. If you need work and aren't concerned about the risks, then we should talk. As a representative of Leyawen, I can assure you this is all above board. What sort of work are you hiring for? Oh, no, not me personally. I work for Leyawen's Chamber of Legats. These days, I'm more of an administrator. I've been since the time of the Longhouse Emperors. Speak to Dedum Jas or British Silenus. They hire adventurers for dangerous jobs on a daily basis. Alright, how do I sign up for one of these jobs? If you prefer to work alone, see Dedum Jas. He's got odd tasks, but they pay well. If you're interested in group tasks, talk to British Silenus. Group work is dangerous. Bring friends. Here's a modest advance to show you that we're serious about these efforts. One thing I really like about ESO is even though there are group dungeons in this game and there's group content, a lot of it is designed that you can play it as a group or you can play it solo. Like these unlock daily missions. There's a daily mission for solo and a daily mission for group. And you also, like, there's these anchors that come down, you have to fight waves of enemies. They can be done solo if you're built well. Otherwise, you'd have to wait till people show up. See, I think PvP in general is only fun if you're going with a group of friends. But, I mean, you could say anything is more fun with friends. Remember to see Datum Joss for jobs you can handle on your own, or Brita Solanus for jobs that require groups of heroes. You will be paid handsomely for every task you complete. What sort of work are you hiring for? Oh, we've already read that part. So, yeah, that just unlocked daily quests. Who's Ditas? You're the one who does single player. I'm probably not going to bother them because I only play this character once a week. It's not really worth the effort, really. I'd rather just do the regular questing. Alright, so let's make sure we've got as many researches done as we can. You always want to have a research active just because the way you make the best equipment in this game is by doing these researches, getting these traits, and then bringing them to specialized places where you can build specialized equipment, more or less. You basically get to build full sets. Now, I think we have 2 things under clothing. We're going to be wearing light with you, so you probably are the better option to go with. Yeah, we had at least one other one. You'll very quickly get bogged down by equipment holding on to them, which is another reason you'd want the crafting bag. Because then your bank wouldn't be full of crafting stuff like mine is. Yeah, we'll stop by the illegal place, I guess, and we'll sell a few things. But I'm going to stop in at the bank to try to steal a few more things. I did used to play on a PvP server in WoW, which, for the most part, it wasn't too bad. It was annoying when you're, like, just trying to explore a new area and then somebody flies in on a flying mount that's like 40 levels higher and just one-shot you. But aside from that, it's fine. I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it was. Could you, like, leave the room, please? I just want to peruse. Oh, thank you. Oh, master? That's annoying. Yeah, I got it. The timer on the master ones are a lot faster than the other stuff. Again, that's everything we can do there. Let's be a little bit careful about being seen here, because I don't know where the guard has walked off to. It looks like he's in the middle of the room there. Selling boosts? What, there's pay-to-win mechanics in WoW now? I mean, you can buy boosts and stuff in this game too, I think. So it's not too surprising. Honestly, I'm surprised WoW has not gone free-to-play at this point. Because I think the amount of people that would go back to it if it was free-to-play and you could just buy, like, cosmetic stuff or whatever on a like a marketplace, they'd probably make up the money they lost in the max exodus to Final Fantasy XIV. Dungeon boosting? What do you mean by dungeon boosting? It just completes the dungeon for you, or it increases the level of the dungeon? Or do you just mean buying flat out, you're level 60 now, so you can do higher level stuff? Because I know they have that, I think in this and Final Fantasy XIV, from what I recall.
Got any silver in that lot?
We'll go outside this way. I want to try to get at least one quest done per episode, worst case scenario, so we'll make a beeline towards one of them. Maybe we'll work on this deadly secret one. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant like you bought a booster. Yeah, I used to do that stuff all the time. Like, I used to, when I played regularly, most of my time playing the game, once I hit a certain point, was just taking guildies through old content just to get their quests done and boost their levels. Because I love doing that stuff, just going through and steamrolling stuff in older content. It amuses me. Alright, so there's a couple of circles we have to tag. Are those the main plot? Yeah, there's a treasure, find the cave. I think these are all main plots. Yeah, dead drops, I think, for the pirates, not the pirate's gift, the other thing. I think I need to go way out here to do those, so I'd rather do this one now. Oh yeah, just grabbing every enemy in the dungeon and fighting them all at once. Always a good time. Me and Lumina used to do that quite often together. Councillor Jurich, I hope this letter finds you in good health and better spirits, my old friend. Though years have passed since I was Emperor Levik's steward, you were one of his elder counselors, I fear that the secrets of the Longhouse Emperors continue to haunt us. You and other members of the Elder Council are in grave danger. Actions that you and your colleagues performed over the years for the Longhouse Emperors have inadvertently made you targets for an as-yet unknown entity or entities. Of course, we both know that you are only following orders, performing your duties. Unfortunately, those who hunt you care little for the reasons. They only want to eliminate everyone who may know even the tiniest fraction of Emperor Levik's final secret. I wish I could provide you with more information, but for now, this is all I know. If you learn anything further, I will be in touch. For now, please be cautious and sleep with one eye open. Feral Lupus. I remember one run we did, me and Lumina, where I think it was, I don't think it was Nomragon. It was, what's like the volcano-ish dungeon, and there's two parts to it. And we were doing the lower part, I think. Black Rock Depths? Is that accurate? But anyway, we were doing this, I think it was a pickup group, because we needed to do it for something, but there wasn't enough people on in the guild at the time. So we just filled out the rest with the pug. And there's this guy who was like, I'm gonna be the leader of this group. Yo, yo, yo. And he kept saying like the dumbest stuff. Just like, basically ordering us to do stuff that was going to get everybody killed. And I essentially spent the entire time screwing with him. While Lumina was just laughing her ass off in whispers. Because he didn't realize I was screwing with him the whole time. I think we did eventually finish it, but I think he left. And we had to replace him, and it went fine after that. I've always I've always rolled my eyes at those people, the people that just take it way too seriously. I think I've told the story before where I was in a guild that was run by like 2 military people. And they were just like, you know, one of my friends was about to get kicked in the guild and they wanted me to stay loyal. And they're like, we gave you an epic hat once. And I'm like, really? You want me to abandon a real-life friend of mine that I've known since I was a child because you gave me a hat that I kept on for like a level? It's not gonna happen, my friend, but good on you. Alright, what are we looking for here? I mean, I'll take the cornflower for later. I wonder if that guild is still around. I would have my doubts. What am I looking for here? Oh, here it is. Fang Pearl's Dead Drop. Take an extra percentage from the merchants in the crafting halls. These damn cultists keep messing with our operations at the docks and we need to compensate. Blackwood's merchants are all cowards, thanks Sithis. If they grew even a hint of a backbone, I doubt we'd have the muscle to keep them all in line. Okay, so that was for the other one. So we didn't really need to do that for this episode, but you know what? At least it's done for later. Yeah, I mean, I imagine classic stuff, content-wise, did not last unfinished for too long, with people going in with the knowledge. One thing that's always bugged me about a lot of MMOs is when add-ons start getting added to the game, they start to be designed around the fact that you will have these add-ons. Which I don't know why they don't just implement it into the main game rather than making you get the add-ons to do the content, but it is what it is. They finally did? Okay, cool. Because that used to annoy the shit out of me. Yeah, nothing that's not surprising at all. I think that the most is that raids might have taken a little longer, and that's just to level up that many people. The same week classic released. Yeah, not surprising. Were the in regular vanilla classic was Molten Core and Onyxia the only two there? Because I don't remember what was part of expansions and what wasn't. Was Nax vanilla, or was that added later? Because I know Kazakhstan was a little bit into the DLC phases. Or not Kazakhstan. Kazahan? The Mage Tower looking thing. I used to sneak in there before it was released a lot. Kazrahan? Karazhan, that's it. Yeah, there used to be a way of sneaking into the dungeon without entering the dungeon. You could walk around in the unfinished assets. I used to do that constantly. It was so fun to just go around there. That and climbing on top of Iron Forge. I used to do that a lot, where you can run around the airport. I assume by now they patched a few of those things out. Alright, no chest here. Let's hide because this is marked red. They patched or most of them. That's unfortunate. I don't really understand why you would patch that stuff, because I mean, it's not like anybody's hurting anything by going up there. And like, there's nothing up there to see. It's just the neatness of being able to do it. Just seems like wasted effort patching the ways in. Okay, Nax was vanilla, but it was a few patches in. How does Classic work? Because obviously I haven't played it since it came out, but do they release like all of vanilla in one fell swoop and then the next update is Burning Crusade, or have they been drip feeding it like real time with the various patches? And how long do you have to wait between each patch? Because you know they're all done. So, I mean, all they gotta do is re-upload the code. Phases. I imagine the length of time is just long enough to justify doing the old content, and then when things start to get a little slow, they're like, oh, you know, hit the next one. 3 to 4 months? That seems about fair. Yeah, we're coming up on something. Honestly, since we're approaching the pirate's treasure, we could also do that. First, I'll kill this bog dog. Do I have any unfilled soul gems? No. Find the cave. Well, that was easy. Chief Counselor Leviticus. While our time serving together on the Imperial Elder Council is long past, I still consider you to be both a colleague and a friend. I know I ignored the warning the Wood Elf brought you, refused to believe that old secret still held any power, any danger. I was wrong. I received a letter from Farus Lupus today, or Farul Lupus rather, which, if the reports of his death are accurate, he must have sent before he was murdered, and I fear that I am being followed. I thought I caught a glimpse of a dark figure watching me from the rocks during my island walk this morning. I was so rattled by the sight that I dropped Farul's letter. Didn't realize I had lost it until I'd almost reached the cave. This must be related to a project Emperor Morakar gave me some 20 years back. He needed caretakers for some sort of storage vaults, and I procured them. Set up the contracts, paid the costs, but that was so long ago. Even as I write this, I can feel the noose drawing tight. If you receive this, tell the others. Convince them to heed the warning and accept your assistance. The secret of the Longhouse Emperors. I think this time, it really will be the death of me. Counselor Jurich.
Counselor Jurich?
Phase 1 was Tier 4 raids, Tier 5 raids was Phase 2. Okay, so this is basically just enough time for guilds to get kitted out and then finish the raid, and then the next set comes out. That seems about right. Apologies. I heard you stumbling about and thought it might be Counselor Jurich. Who are you? No one important, I assure you. I'm simply one of the Counselor's aides. I help her with paperwork mostly, run errands, that sort of thing. Captain Ryan sent me to find the Counselor. He thinks she might be in danger. She initially refused the captain's offer, but she received a letter that made her uneasy. Last I saw, she was headed back to the city by way of the Eastern Gate. But she never returned to her manor. So I came to look for her. Please find her. Well, since we are near this one quest, we might as well finish it. Especially since I happen to remember where the item that we have to find is. Although I don't remember if there's any parts I have to do beforehand. Normally you're meant to find this waterfall, which I'll go to first. And then following the notes on the little sheet of paper you found on the bottle, you're supposed to go from here up to, there's like a castle over here. I don't know what that is, I'm going to avoid it for now. But we want to go to this castle anyway, simply because there is a shard there we want to collect. The annoying bit is that a lot of the enemies in here are going to be sort of, not I guess technically you could call them elite. They're a step up above regular enemies. Yeah, I mean, I feel with a lot of MMOs, the journey is so much better than when you get to the end of it. Almost without fail, every MMO, I get to the very end and I just lose interest. Because the idea of doing the same thing over and over again, every day or every week, I could not describe to you how little I care about that concept. Ill-gotten goods wait beneath the pile of loose dirt. You will receive Captain Valdar's hammer, which is nothing we want, but I will accept a quest that lets me level up. That'll give me one of these. I guess tailoring probably makes the most sense for me. Grab myself some more magicka. Now, we can upgrade the Flaming Skull. The Scythe has been pretty good for us. I think this is the one we don't want to use because it actually causes us to drain stuff. Bounces to nearby enemies? I will take that. Because if I can hit more enemies than one in a fell swoop, I will gladly do that. So we gotta get up on top of this cliff to get the shard. I forget exactly where the staircase up here is. Somewhere around here. There it is. Seems like somebody's been around here recently because all the enemies are dead, which kind of works out in my favor because I don't have to fight any of the elites. Not that I wouldn't be able to kill them, but they're going to be time-consuming fights, and, you know, I'd rather just get in and get out. You know what? I'll grab that. Here we go, get my Sky Shard, and we will be done with this area. Although I think I need to approach the... Oh, that's a skill point, actually. Gladly take that, then. So what else do we need? When your Blastbone Skeletal Mage or Spirit Mender dies, the cost of your next Blastbone Skeletal Mage or Spirit Mender is reduced by 25. Alright, I should be using Blast Bones. Whenever an enemy you're in combat with dies within 28 meters of you, restore 100 magicka and stamina. That's okay, I guess. Bone armor could be good. Although I wouldn't want to give up the scythe. Seems like all the stuff in here, at least of these two, has a negative effect. Well, you have a negative effect on you, your healing is done is increased by 4. What about racials? Spell recharge. When you activate an ability, restore 200 magicka or stamina based on whichever is lowest. Maybe. Light armor. Reduces effectiveness of stairs. Increases magicka recovery. I'll probably grab that, actually. There's no long fights in Classic. Well, I mean, I imagine at the very beginning you'd be fairly weak. Because you'd have to level up your weapon skill. At least if they're going true Classic. I mean, I guess it's possible they might have removed that entirely. I think I remember reading that it's in there, though. Where's the entrance? There's a little bit of a glare on my end, so I'm having trouble sort of seeing where I'm going. I might have to, let me sneak here and lower my blinds. Ugh. That's better. Now I can see what I'm doing. I'm assuming a lot of that is just from people being familiar with the run, though. It's not because there's just overpowered equipment in this version for whatever reason. Okay, that's an alien well. I mean, I'll grab it because I think it's a buff. You can now purchase an ultimate ability in one of your skill lines. Oh, do I need to do that? Oh, I think it's just because something hit 12 or something along those lines. Or maybe this is the first time anything's hit over 10. Ultimates are kind of like limit breaks, I guess is the best comparison you could make. But we'll have to wait till we get another skill point before I can grab that. But first we'll grab this fast travel motion. Where do we need to go for the other quests? So we need to go back here. Would it be faster to just, I guess I could go to this one. That's probably close enough. Yeah, we'll go there. So if you go to one of these way shrines, it's free to fast travel. But if you don't go to one of them, it costs money. So typically, I just run to the nearest one so I don't have to spend money. Because money is very important in this game. You want to have as much of it as possible at all times. Can you skip the cutscenes? So I imagine if they weren't skippable in the original game, and they added that as a quality of life, that would be one adjustment that people would be mostly okay with. I refuse to believe, but Farul, Leviticus, they were right. What happened to you, counselor? I was attacked, an assassin. You must warn the others, the counselors, Leovic's secret. It will be the death of us all. Counselor Urich!
Counselor Jirik!
Counselor Urich! Damn, we're too late. Damn it, I'm too late. Poor Counselor Urich. She didn't deserve to die like that. At least I don't think she did. Did you see what happened? Who attacked her? I didn't see who attacked her, but there's a note beside her body. The mark of the Brotherhood, just like with Pharaoh Lupus. Sorry, I'm working for Counselor Leviticus, the head of the Chamber of Legates. I came to Leowin to warn him after I stumbled across some secret concerning the Longhouse Emperors. I'm working for Captain Rian Lore. He sent me to find the Counselor. What's that about a secret? It relates to something called the Four Ambitions of Mahu's Dagon, rather. I think they're Daedric weapons, but I'm still puzzling that out. I was working for Pharaoh Lupus before he was murdered. Found a strange tome with Daedric markings at his behest. I found a letter to Counselor Urich from Pharaoh Lupus. It warned she was in danger. Yeah, that's what brought me here. I found a list of names. Pharaoh Lupus and members of the Elder Council. It said they all knew something about the secret. Since Pharaoh was murdered, I figured the others were in danger too. Looks like I was right. Who are the other counselors? Ah, they start talking and you can't attack them. I mean, they could do something where after the group leader has been there once, you have the option of just skipping to the fight. Let me have your map. I'll mark where counselors Valeria and Sophius were last seen. Go warn them, convince them to take precautions. Then meet me at Counselor Urich Manor in the city. Maybe you can find something to shed more light on the secret. I'll go warn the counselors to meet you at Jurich Manor.
I'll get the city guards to come.
I'll get the city guards to come and gather the counselor's body. She shouldn't just be left out here. Then I'll head to Counselor Jurich's manor. When you're done checking on Counselor Philaria and Counselor Sophus, meet me there. Tell me more about that strange book you found. So Feral Lupus hired me to retrieve a book from a retreat once used by the Longhouse Emperors. He never told me what it was, and he died before I could ask. The book is weird. It has weird pages and weird markings, and I can't read a word of it. Never learned anything else about it. Not much. Feral's partner said he planned to use it to make things right, but she didn't know how. And it's Daedric, I think. I will say carrying it is kind of a burden, and I've been having strange dreams, but I don't want to talk about that. Walk me through what you know so far about this threat against the counselors. Like I said, it all started when I found that strange tome for Feral Lupus, in Emperor Ludwig's journal. It was in code, but I got it translated. It sent me to a few hidden Imperial caches where I learned that the Longhouse Emperors had a secret. Right. The secret concerned the four ambitions of Mehuz Dagon. Right. But it turned out, I wasn't the only one trying to learn more about the ambitions. A group of cracked acorns called the Order of the Waking Flame. Fanatic Mehuz Dagon cultists. Had to put arrows in more than one of those bastards. So why is the Dark Brotherhood murdering the counselors? I guess someone hired them to eliminate everyone who knows about the secret. The question is who? And I was told by a more or less friendly Dremora named Lyranith that the fate of our world was at stake. So of course I want to figure this all out. Alright, so the first one of these is fairly close, so we're going to run over to that. We'll probably be wrapping up fairly soon. At least with the recording bit of this. I think we'll do this last little bit of dialogue and we'll save the conclusion for the follow-up episode. I mean, I did hit my marker of completing at least one side quest today, so the hell with it. Just up here, almost there. I was almost going right to the cave from the last episode. There we go.
We weren't expecting visitors.
We weren't expecting visitors. Are you here to see the counselor? Are you here to speak with Counselor Sophus? I'm afraid my husband has taken our dog for a walk. Is there something I could help you with, perhaps? I need to find the counselor. He may be in danger. Danger? What are you talking about? This does have something to do with that letter. And who are you, by the way? Captain Rian sent me to check on Counselor Sophus. Captain Rian? I see. Well, the Ivory Brigade sent you. My husband likes to walk our dog Chero along the tree line. Go on and find him. I'll wait here in case he returns. You mentioned a letter. My husband Valen received a letter from an old friend this morning. Feral Lupus, Emperor Leovic's steward. I can see that whatever was in that letter upset him, but he didn't want to discuss it and I didn't push him. Now please go find him. Luckily we don't have to go too far to get to this. He didn't make it that far away from his house. And while we're going up here, I might finish out the episode by tagging that fast travel point just above us. Just to make it easier to get up there later. Mysterious note being just the Brotherhood symbol, showing that they killed him. And annoyingly, I need to get rid of that because it just stays up because of one of my mobs. Valen, no! Oh, Valen, oh my love. What happened? I thought Captain Rian sent you to protect my husband. I was too late. He was already dead when I found him. You know, Valen acted strange after that letter from Feral Lupus arrived. He didn't tell me what it said, and I never asked. Before he left today, he gave me a sealed scroll. Said to give it to Counselor Leviticus if anything ever happened to him. A scroll. A scroll. Sealed and bearing my husband's stamp. Take it. Give it to Counselor Leviticus. I hope it helps catch whoever murdered my husband. I'll summon the town guard. They'll help me with my husband. I think you can rest assured that you're single now, my maiden. Newly single, as it were. Now let's tag this just to make it quicker to come back up here later, because we're going to want to go up this way for other quests down the line. Something sees me, but I got no time for it. Border Watch Way Shrine. There is an icon off to in this direction. That's just a housing thing, which you'd have to pay probably real money to get. I mean, you could use if you subscribe to their sub thing, you get, I think it's 1,000 crowns, they call them, every month. And if you saved up enough, you can get them that way. But aside from that, you'd have to pay real money. But I think we'll wrap up the ESO portion of what I'm doing today here. Next week, we'll finish out this main story quest, I think, because we're pretty close to the end of it, and probably get into the next section of quests, because we've gone through most of the introductory stuff now, so we can get on with just the main questing. But we'll save that for next week. Till then, have a good one.